right, let's open up with a prayer. Our brothers remove the head coverings. Our sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem. Mikhail, can you open us up, please?
Heavenly Father, Yahweh, most holy and true covenant, Elohim, Abram, Yeshach, and Yaakov. We give you all thanks and praise in Yeshua's holy and mighty name, Father, for allowing us to meet together, Father Yahweh, to go over your word, Father Yahweh, to learn your truth, Father Yahweh, to let our hearts receive your word, Father Yahweh. So we'll learn how to conduct ourselves, Father, by your ways, Father, by your will, Father Yahweh. So we ask, Father Yahweh, to keep our hearts malleable, soft, to receive your word like a sponge, Father Yahweh. But also, Father Yahweh, let us get understanding, Father Yahweh. Because we know, Father Yahweh, you will give us wisdom, liberty, Father Yahweh. We just have to ask, Father Yahweh, to receive it, Father Yahweh. And as we receive it, Father, we pray, Father Yahweh, to allow us to repent of the sins that we have committed in our lives, Father Yahweh. So we'll be able, Father, to do your wisdom, Father Yahweh, to work out these problems, Father, that we have, Father Yahweh, to walk the path, Father Yahweh, by your will. So we give you thanks and praise, Father Yahweh, Yeshua's holy name, Father, for giving this opportunity, Father Yahweh. We pray, Father Yahweh, let your word wash us, Father Yahweh. Let your word, Father, go through the four corners of the earth, Father, to see who it made, Father Yahweh. Allow their lives, Father, to be transformed, Father, by your truth, Father Yahweh, by your spirit. We give you all praise in Yeshua's holy divine name and thanks in Yeshua's name, Father Yahweh. Amen.
Amen.
Chanel. Have the lock.
That's all we got left. Please touch me. What else box of Kleenex was in your room? What do you do with the box? I'll throw the box away.
All right, shalom. My name is Yadon Yasharah, my brother Yanti Yasharah, Shalamak. And the title of today's Bible study is Faith Over Fearfulness, Part 2. We're going to pick up where we left off on the Shabbat. And we're going to discuss how we can become more fearless through our works and our demonstration of faith. And just to look at some examples of how brothers who dealt with fearful situations and how they were able to allow their faith to guide them through those highly stressful and emotional situations. So we're going to first start in Devarim chapter 20, Deuteronomy chapter 20. And we're going to see an example here of fear and how it can not have this place when you're going into a war situation. Priest's job was to separate the fear, to remove that fear. So we're going to Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 20. And we're going to start this at verse 1.
Once everyone gets there.
Mama, is it okay if we start and you catch up? Huh, Mama?
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if we start reading and Chanel show you where we are?
Yeah, all right.
All
Yeah,
right.
you got a professional sitting next to him now.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 20 and verse 1. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and a people more than you, be not afraid of them. For Yahweh your Elohim is with you, which brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be, when you are come near unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yashua, you approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Fear not, and do not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them.
All right, so we know what's going on in this situation. They're getting ready to go into the land and fight the nations that are mightier and stronger than them. And of course, it's human nature to have some kind of fear because, you know, there's high stakes involved. You're talking about war and death and going against situations that on the apparent side, you shouldn't be able to overcome. But the priest's job was to come in and to let folks know that there's a spiritual war going on as well. And that we cannot allow this fear to cause paralyzation in us doing the works of the Most High, us following the instructions of the Most High. Yahweh gets his glory through his people and his people that do what he tells them to do. And regardless of what the circumstance or situation is, they keep those commandments, which is every word that proceeds out the mouth of the Most High. And in doing so, we can learn to push out that fear because we know at the end of the day, if we're doing Yah's will, it's going to end in our favor.
Verse 4. For Yahweh your Elohim is he that goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you.
So it's not just you. So when you out there and you're in your own war situation, because all of us face battles and wars daily. Majority of that is within ourselves, fighting our own flesh. But when we go out to do a warrior type situation, and this is by the instruction of the Most High. In other words, you're doing what you're told to do in whatever manner you're dealing with. The Most High will fight for you if you're on the side of righteousness. So whatever situation we're in, we want to make sure that we're on the side of righteousness, which means we're following the instructions that's given to us by the Most High and understand that the Most High is going to fight for us. There's spirits, there's things around us that we cannot see, that we cannot fight with the physical form. But what we can do is elicit the help of the hedge of protection about us by trying to make sure that we're following his instructions.
Verse 5. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that has planted a vineyard and has not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that has betrothed a wife and has not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart.
So this fearfulness is like a disease. It can be spread amongst brothers and sisters. So the captains and the priests, and they had to make sure that they remove that fear element out. Now, doesn't mean that somebody is not going to have a level of fear for their safety, but you can't be paralyzed by that fear. And this fear doesn't have to always be in a form of, I'm scared I'm going to get hurt. Sometimes that fear comes in the form of, I'm afraid I'm not going to get the result that I want. I'm afraid that, my feelings are going to get hurt. I'm afraid that somebody else is not going to keep their end of the bargain. But at the end of the day, when you approach to do things, you can't approach that with a spirit of fear. We read in the Shabbat study that there is no fear in perfect love because fear has torment. Torment will cause you to not do the right thing or be susceptible to being used by the adversary, the devil, if you're allowing that fear to be the pressing spirit to drive you. It also goes with Yahshua when he said, any man that's trying to save his life is going to lose it. And any man that freely gives his life up for my sake will gain.
Verse 9. And it shall be that when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people.
So this is when your captains are chosen. This is when your leaders are chosen. After you have the situation when you remove the people that are just in a situation where it's just not the right time. It's not their calling yet. Then you remove the people that are fearful and everybody else that is willing to put their life on the line, willing to put their heart on the line. Now you choose your captains. Because everybody can say this and say that. But when at the end of the day, when it's time to actually do the work, man will find excuses. What they would say, well, we can't go out. There's lions out there. Man will find excuse to weasel out of a situation if they allow fear to take over them. But you can't choose your captains and the people that are going to lead you if they're going to run from difficult situations or fearful situations or even run from their own lives being in danger. Because what do you think he's going to do for his brother if he's fearful? And when you bring that fear, you might have 10 people that have the same fear as you, but they have got the resolve to move forward. And then now you get one fearful person running off. Now you got a whole group of people running because the fear is spreading.
Verse 10. When you come near unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make you answer of peace and open unto you, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you. And if it will make no peace with you, but will make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when Yahweh your Elohim has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even the spoil thereof, shall you take unto yourself, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. Thus shall you do unto all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations.
All right, so this is pertaining to the cities that are not next to you, that are far off. We know the cities that we were to go into, he said kill everything. He didn't say don't kill the women, don't kill the animal. He said kill everything. But these cities far off, he said don't kill them. Go ahead.
Verse 16, but of the cities of these people, which Yahweh your Elohim does give you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breathes. But you shall utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites and the Amorites, the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the Hivites and the Jebusites, as Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you.
So these are the nations that we were supposed to kill off entirely. Not only them, but everything that breathes in there. So these are the nations that no matter what, you're not supposed to be making covenant with these people. You definitely can't marry a people that you're supposed to kill off. But these other nations, they say, hey, you can take them to yourself for the purpose that you used them for. But these nations here, you're supposed to kill those nations off. And this is part of the reason when they came back to the land and the priests were taking women of the land, he rounded up and said, no, these people can't be here. You done took these people to this land. These people supposed to be wiped out. You can't make covenant with these people. Go ahead.
Verse 18. That they teach you not to do after all their abominations which they have done unto their gods. So should you sin against Yahweh your Elohim. When you shall besiege a city a long time and making war against it to take it, you shall not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them. For you may eat of them, and you shall not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. Only the trees which you know that they be not trees for meat, you shall destroy and cut them down, and you shall build bulwarks against the city that makes war with you until it be subdued.
All right. So let's move on. Let's go to Numbers Bamidbar, chapter 13. And we're going to see what this fear does and how it can spread and cause a problem. And we got to learn that not be afraid. I mean, that's a human emotion. If you're not afraid of something, then you might not take the proper precautions to ensure that you have safety. But you can't allow fear to be your motivating factor, your driving factor when it comes to making a decision of doing the thing that you're supposed to do or not doing it. And shalom, Sister Marshall. Good to see you. Shalom, Brother Yehuda Yasharel. And Shabbat, Brother Robert McCall. Good to see you, brothers and sisters. Bamidbar, Numbers chapter 13.
Numbers 13 and verse 1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Send you men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Yasharal. Every tribe of their fathers shall you send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moshe, by the commandment of Yahweh, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Yasharal. And these were their names: of the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, the son of Zakur; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori; of the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh; of the tribe of Issachar, Egal, the son of Yosef; of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea, the son of Nun.
All right, so Oshea was the original name of Yahshua, the son of Nun. And his name was later changed when his job was changed to Yahshua, the son of Nun. And he's of the tribe of Ephraim.
Of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphu; of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Zodi; of the tribe of Yosef, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai, the son of Susi; of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gemali; of the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael; of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Vafsi; of the tribe of Gad, Geuel, the son of Makai. These are the names of the men which Moshe sent to spy out the land. And Moshe called Oshea, the son of Nun, Yahshua. And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be you of good courage, and bring the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south, and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Mitzrayim. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut from there a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook of Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Yasharal cut down from there. And they returned from searching the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moshe unto Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Yasharal, into the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land where you sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the course of Jordan.
All right, so the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. The Jebusites, or Jebus, is where Jerusalem is. So when you look at the history of this, Jerusalem is supposed to be in mountainous area, not in a valley. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
And this is a problem. You have Caleb of Yehuda, and you have Yahshua, the son of Nun of of Ephraim were the ones that given a good report saying, look, this is what it is. This is the situation. But at the end of the day, Yah told us to go do this so we can do it. But here's the report. But instead, you have the rest of the brothers that are allowing the spirit of fear, because we got to remember, you know, the Amalekites were tall, big, strong people. So, you know, you can see how that can strike fear. But after you just cross the Red Sea, that part of the Red Sea, then you see clearly it's not about just you and your physical situation. So the faith should have been there to say, listen, we were freed by a mighty hand. We saw all these miracles. We saw all these different things. We just walked through water. I don't care who's in front of me. If the Most High said, this is where we going, this is where we need to go. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to feel some fear, but you can't be paralyzed by that fear, because that fear will spread. And now that fear is spreading amongst the children of Yasharal. Go ahead.
Verse 32. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Yasharal, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Continue to chapter 14.
And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night.
So it was 12 people that went? Out of the 12 people that went, because it was 12, right? Yeah, it was one from each tribe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 12 people that went, 10 people came back with an evil report and struck fear. And now all the people are weeping and crying, when at the end of the day, they just came through all this mighty deliverance. They probably sitting on high feeling like they can do anything. If you walk through water and then the water fall and kill the people that's trying to kill you, you feeling like you can do anything. But this is how strong the spirit of fear is if you allow it to take over you and to override your faith. It's going to cause you to be in a situation where you're going to be paralyzed from doing the right thing and possibly spreading that fear to the rest of the people in your assembly. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And all the children of Yasharal murmured against Moshe and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, if only that we had died in the land of Mitzrayim, or if only we had died in the wilderness. And why has Yahweh brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Mitzrayim? And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return to Mitzrayim. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Yasharal. And Yahshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes.
Okay, so they rent their clothes. They made sure that there was a physical line drawn that we do not consent to this. You can silently consent and don't say nothing. But when wickedness is going on, you have to show that, listen, Yahweh said do this. You are trying to do this. We do not agree. Period.
Verse 5. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the children of the congregation of the children of Yasharal. Oh, this is all verse 7.
Yeah.
And they spoke unto all the company of the children of Yasharal, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahweh delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only rebel not you against Yahweh, neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not.
So you have a situation where you have clear instructions from the Most High. Do this. When you have clear instructions from the Most High to do something, you got to put that fear to the side. And you got to do what you got to do. And that's how these commandments are. When Yahweh commands you, thus you shall do this, or thus you shall not do that, you cannot allow fear to paralyze you from following that instruction. It's different if there was, well, should we go this way or should we go that way? We don't have any clear direction. That's different. You might want to consider that fear and say, you know what, maybe I should be cautious. But when it comes to cut and dry, left or right, and Yahweh say go right, you cannot allow that fear to take over. And Yahweh will allow this fear to set in little things in your life so that you can practice building your faith And your faith is going to build through your works. And the faith is going to build through your deeds that you do, so that you can prepare yourself so when the day comes that you have the real battle, the real big instance. You won't allow that fear. You won't be used to being paralyzed by that fear. You'll learn how to work with it. In fact, boxers, matter of fact, or fighters, they have the same fear that anybody else has when they getting ready to go in the ring. But you got to learn how to utilize that, and you just use it to motivate you or make you sharper or more careful. But you can't use that and allow that to set in and take over your better judgment.
Verse 11. Verse 10. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones, and the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Yasharal.
So they were going to stone these brothers for just doing what the Most High told them to do, because they were afraid. When people are afraid, they will do those type of things. Yahweh had to intercede. He had to come down into the midst of the assembly to stop this from happening.
Verse 11. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, how long will this people provoke me, and how long will it be ere they believe me for all the signs which I have showed among them? I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of you a greater nation and mightier than they. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, then the Mitzrayim shall hear it, for you brought up this people in your might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Yahweh, are among this people, that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and that your cloud stands over them, and that you go before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud and in a pillar of fire by night. Now if you shall kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of you will speak, saying, because Yahweh was not able to bring the people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness. And now, I beseech you, let the power of my Yahweh be great, according as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech you, the iniquity of this people according to the greatness of your mercy, and as you have forgiven this people from Mitzrayim even until now. And Yahweh said, I have pardoned according to your word.
So this is true leadership here. You have a brother, 1 minute they getting ready to stone them for simply doing what the Most High told them to do. And now he has to turn around and pray for these same people that are talking against him and ready to stone these brothers for clearly not allowing fear to be their driving factor. Go ahead.
Verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yahweh. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened unto my voice.
These 10 times. So it wasn't like the first time they got afraid and did something that Yahweh just gonna provoke, gonna put some kind of judgment on them. But no, multiple times. Go ahead.
Surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and has followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Yasharal, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, says Yahweh, as you have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless you shall not come into the land concerning which I swore to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Yeshua the son of Nun.
All right, so the whole number, so we're also seeing here the whole number of a man is 20 years of age. And he's getting ready to cut off every male that left out of Mizraim over the age of 20 years and old for this murmuring that was going on. Now, there might have been some people there that didn't necessarily pick up a stone, but they didn't separate themselves. They didn't say, no, Yahweh said do this, and y'all want to do, I don't want nothing to do with that. And because of that, they got caught into that as well. And keep in mind, they also did this to themselves when they opened up their mouth and said, well, you brought our children out here to starve, cause our children to be feared. So Yahweh said, all right, you concerned about your children, right? You're not even going to be real with me and say, listen, I'm afraid. Give me the strength. No, you're going to blame this on your children? Then no problem. I'm going to bring your children in and you can stay in this wilderness.
Power of life and death is in the tongue. They spoke against themselves.
Verse 32. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness.
So these children now have to wander for another 40 years. When we just saw right there, it was a 40-day trip. We read that earlier, 40 days to spy out that land. And now they got to stay in the wilderness for 40 years because of what their parents did. Go ahead.
After the number of the days in which you search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall you bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and you shall know my breach of promise. I, Yahweh, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moshe sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before Yahweh. But Yahshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still. And Moshe told these sayings unto all the children of Yasharal, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and gat them up into the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place which Yahweh has promised, for we have sinned. And Moshe said, Why now do you transgress the commandment of Yahweh? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for Yahweh is not among you, that you be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword, because you are turned away from Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh will not be with you. But they presumed to go up unto the hilltop. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and Moshe departed not out of the camp.
So they decided they're going to do the same thing that they did to get themselves in trouble. Yahweh said, go do this. They decided, nah, we don't want to do that. We want to speak against Yahweh. Then Yahweh said, all right, well, now definitely don't do it. They decide they want to go up anyways. So they could continuously not following the instructions of the Most High. And this is all being driven by fear. Go ahead.
And the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them and discomfited them, even unto Hormah.
All right, let's go to Numbers chapter 10. Actually, excuse me, let's go to James chapter 5. Yaakov chapter 5. James chapter 5. What'd you say, Elder?
Said fear became disobedience, caused their death.
Right. And you can understand why somebody would be afraid. I mean, if you a group of people and you going against a much larger group of people that seem mightier and stronger than you, your body is going to naturally be in fear. But your spirit should kick in at some point and say, hey, remember all these spiritual things that were done for us, not because we were some kind of great people. It's because Yahweh's trying to get glory for his name.
There's another thing to that too, bro. I'll put on, take it up here.
Go ahead.
Another thing to that is too, brother, is that they have very short memory. I mean, we all have this issue some of the time that we forget what Yahweh does for us, or we don't see sometimes what Yahweh does for us. We take it for granted, you know. And these brothers and sisters, you know, I mean, out there, they strive, they died, they was tortured, they was a slave in Israel, they saw the power of Egypt. and they feared them, yet they saw the salvation of Yahweh, how He destroyed them in which way. And so I mean, they took that for granted, realized that Yahweh took them all this way. And to look at them, it took them all this way to the Big Sea opened up, and all the miracles began. But yet, that did not change their heart. They had from young, fearfully young. And they could not get that. And I think that's one of the problems that we have today is that, we were taught so wrongly. And we wasn't brought up this way. Yahweh showing right now that they shall walk over the Jordan because they choose to go wrong. They don't have the fear that their fathers and mothers had under slavery. And they won't be as disobedient as they father and mother. And I'm sorry that it is that way, but it seems to always come out that way. That the children should be better than their parents, but their parents supposed to teach them the right way. And when they grow up in the man of Yahweh has chosen for them, there will be a better sacrifice for Yahweh. There will be a better disciple. There will be a better ambassador for Yahweh. There will be a stronger life because they will not have all the weaknesses that we had to endure upon our back because we didn't understand it. We didn't know how to go from so this really says an awful right here about how people being so stiff-necked and why they cursed themselves because of their love and became disobedient.
Right. All right, so we're going to James, Yaakov, chapter 5. And partly with that faith comes that patience. Because when you have faith in something, don't mean something's going to happen right away. You got to have patience. Anything that's worthwhile, you got to wait on it. It doesn't just come right away.
Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, cries. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered in the ears of Yahweh Sabaoth. You have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the master. Behold, the husbandman waits for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain.
All right, so be patient. The husbandman waits for the precious fruit of the earth and has long patience for it. So when he plants that seed, he has to have faith that that seed is going to sprout. He has no control over that. All he can do is plant the seed and water it. But he has to have faith that it's going to grow into the tree that's going to produce fruit. So when it's time for us to have faith in the Most High, where it may not look like it's a favorable situation for us, or we may have to make a sacrifice of something with faith that it's going to end well for us, we have to have the patience for that faith to be rewarded. And often, if we allow fear, which is a quicker emotion, to get in front of us, it can cause us to not have that patience and lose that faith, like these brothers did, our ancestors did when they spied out the land.
Verse 6, you have condemned and killed. Okay. Be you also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the master draws near. Grudge not against one another, brethren, lest you be condemned. Behold, the judge stands before the door. Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of Yahweh, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of Yahweh, that Yahweh is very pitiful and of tender mercy. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay, lest you fall into condemnation. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the assembly, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of Yahweh. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and Yahweh shall raise him up, and if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Elias was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain, and it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him, let him know that he which converts the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins.
All right, and that multitude of sins may be your own sins, because you went to try to convert a sinner away from his own death, from facing his own death. And this is why we have to be able to not faint in a time of adversity, when we got to talk to people about things that they might not want to hear. We got to make sure that we understand that we don't know anybody's lifespan or when the Most High may collect that payment for sin. So we want to make sure that we talk to each other. We confess our faults to one another, because somebody can't pray for you if you are too close to your chest with your situation that you got going on in your life. When you're so emotional or so close to a situation, sometimes it's hard to see clearly. Just like if you stand in front of a TV and you put your nose on the screen, it's going to be very difficult for you to see things. But the person that may be a little bit further back, a little bit less emotionally involved, may be able to see the picture a little bit clearer and help counsel you in that, as well as pray for you to help deliver you from an issue you might be in. Let's move on. Let's go to Luke chapter 22. Luke chapter 22. And we're going to look at Yeshua and how he dealt with fear. This is the ultimate measure of faith, when you're willing to give your life for it. He gave it in the living. We don't question that. He gave it in the living. But not only did he give it in the living, he also gave it all the way to the end and gave his life physically. And many of us, he's just asking for us to give our lives in the living, by living a certain way and sacrificing a certain way. But you're not going to give up your life to death if you can't even give up your life in the living. Luke is chapter 22, and we're going to read 1 through 46.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan into Yehudas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and covenanted to give him money. And he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Kepha and Yohanan, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. Question, brother. Was the command in Jasher that you can't do it at any part of the day? The slaying can't be done any part of the day?
It has to be done in that third part of the day, which is, it's still
part of the light.
Yeah, it's still part of the light, but it's still light outside, but it's not considered the part of the light.
The border of the evening.
Right, and that was Jubilees, actually. That goes over that. So that third part of the day, which would be like the evening, is not considered a part, because 2 parts are given to the light and 1 part to the night.
Verse 7. Well, just to recap. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Kepha and Yohanan, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where will you that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when you are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he enters in. And you shall say unto the good man of the house, The master says unto you, where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished. There make ready. And they went and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of Yahweh. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of Yahweh shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrays me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goes as it was determined. But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. And he's still arguing about who's better. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise authority over them, and they exercise authority upon them that are called benefactors. But you shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that does serve. For whether is greater, he that sits at meat, or he that serves? Is not he that sits at meat? But I am among you as he that serves.
So this is the example that Yahshua is setting in this ministry, in this Melchizedek priesthood, that the greatest among you will be servant of them all. They're the ones that's supposed to be doing the most work, and not to exercise lordship over one another. That even though if you are in a position of leadership, don't exercise, control, where you trying to control somebody because of your position. Your position is supposed to be used to do your job. If it doesn't involve doing your job, you're not supposed to be trying to oppress people. And Yahshua gave that example by him being the greatest among everything, period, the head. And yet he still served not only his disciples, but also his other brethren that came to him with issues.
Brother,
Go ahead, Elder.
I'm glad you brought that up in a very, very verse because, I wonder what all these pastors and reverends and all these people be thinking, when they read that, because what they do, they think that they say, well, the Messiah is gone and there was his father, that since he said that the one that is greater is the one that sits down to be served, yet Messiah said he's serving.
Right.
So why don't the pastors and reverends and all these people that say they know the word, speaking the word, why don't they help certain people instead serving it of the people? Because they're the ones that get rich and riding around in Maybachs and flying in helicopters and private jets all over the world, and the people is hurt, don't have any money, poor. Why don't they help them? That's something to think about. Why don't they serving the people as they say serve, and not making this great book, this powerful word, all about money, power. Self-serving. And lying to people saying, you can have this too. Why don't you give the people the blessing that Yahweh is giving you?
Right. Well, it's the same spirit of the Pharisees. The Pharisees did the same thing. They want the cheap uppermost seats and be greeted in markets, but then yet they don't want to, and bind heavy burdens on people. And when you requiring somebody that could barely pay their bills to give you 10% of everything you have, and they struggling to pay their bills, and they in the group of poor people that should be receiving help, it's very oppressive to put that on people. And they wouldn't lift up a little finger to help anybody. So that's the same type of priesthood that the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin were doing is just being multiplied, because that's how you get rich. That's how you make money. You make people feel guilty for the things that they do. You try to take little things and make them bigger than what it is, so that you can put people in an oppressed state where they're giving you money, where they feeling so humble that they're not thinking and just giving you money and taking advantage of the people's faith. That, okay, if I give this money, it's going to help the situation. Instead of teaching people, listen, you can put as much money you want in that collection plate. If you're not going to change the action that's causing you to be in that situation, ain't nothing finna change for you. But there's no money in that for a pastor telling people how to make change. Because if they're walking in righteousness and doing well, they're not coming there putting that huge check in the collection plate. They might put some in there because, righteous people and people doing good things will still try to help out and feed the assembly. But at the end of the day, it's the guilty people that are going to give their last dime because I know what I just did. And I'm hoping that I can pay my way out the same way they did with the animal sacrifices.
Yeah.
Verse 28. You are they which have continued with me in my temptations,
that your faith fail not. Now we know it did fail. He did fall. But he said, but when you are converted, strengthen your brother. So Yahshua already knew what was going to happen. He already knew what was going to happen. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Master, I am ready to go with you, both into prison and to death. And he said, I tell you, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before you shall thrice deny that you know me. And he said unto them, when I sent you without purse and scrip and shoes, lacked you anything? And they said, nothing. Then said he unto them, but now he that has a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip, and he that has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say unto you that this that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors. For the things concerning me have an end. And they said, Master, behold, there are 2 swords. And he said unto them, is it enough?
The Old Testament and the New Testament. Go ahead.
And he came out and went as he wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that you enter not into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if you be willing, remove this cup from me.
All right. So he said, Father, if it's your will, if you be willing, remove this cup from me. So he's showing, listen, I'm here. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but they about to kill me in a very painful way. If you be willing, if there's some other way, please do this. So he's making your supplication, but look how he's going to finish this. Go ahead. Read the start 42 again.
Saying, Father, if you be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done.
So there was that fear. So even Yahshua had fear. But at the end of the day, his faith was going to persevere. He's going to acknowledge that fear and say, hey, Father, if there's another way, let me know. But not because I want to do this, but because it's your will, because I understand what stakes are at hand. So he understood that. Sometimes we don't understand what stakes are at hand with us because we see ourselves as very unimportant in the grand scheme of things. But we affect each other. We are a nation of people, and the things we do and the faith or lack of faith we do can affect people.
Verse 43. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in an agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. And when he rose up from prayer and was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow, and said unto them, why sleep you? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation.
All right. So even Yahshua in agony, he prayed more earnestly. And his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling to the ground. So he was under a tremendous amount of stress and fear. So even the perfect man is going to face fear and stress and anxiety. But you cannot allow that to overcome your faith. Because you are put here for a purpose. You have a job, especially if you have a charge, if you're doing something. We're going to be in these situations, and all these things are preparation for war. Just like when you practice and you spar, there's going to be a certain level of fear. But that fear got to be worked out on the mat so that when it's time, when it's game time, when it's life's on the line, you got to be ready to not allow that paralysis of fear to come on you.
Brother.
Go ahead, Elder.
Good explanation, brother. You know, and I wanted to take note of what Messiah was talking about right here when he's talking about that she was temptation. He's telling him to rise and pray, because right now you know that time, you know, also that stress his heart because he's told him what needs to happen.
Right.
So yeah, they love him.
Crying to sleep and all that. All right.
So he's telling himself down there, you know, about, you know, before he falls into temptation. He was trying to allow us to know that a while back. We in Matthew 16, verse 13, you know, when he was saying, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. You know, he says, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever. Amen. You know, he was trying to let us know, you know, look. This also is the Father's business, and he's trying to teach us a high level of faith and belief. You know that this has to be done. You know, but he's going to get us through these problems. And even his son had to tell him that, and now he's teaching him that, because now he has to represent that level of fear and pain, because he was in the flesh also, so he knows what his brothers and sisters are going to go through, and that high level of temptation of going to a panic world, and I think about falling on their fault. Praying unto their Father, giving their praying to their bulls, to the Father, so they can stand on His will, you know, because we wind up doing our will, because we're panicking, we don't know which way to go, you know, so this is why he showed, you know, that his human side, his fleshly side, had a high level of fear, because you said it right there, you know, he was also sweating blood, that's a high level of stress, you know what I mean, he saw what he had to go through, but yet he was teaching his brother the same thing he had to do, consistently praying to his Father and realize, no, not my will be done, but your will be done. And it's also talking about here that Yahweh is giving us a level of hope when he says in Revelation 3:10, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And he also goes, you know, in reference to Psalm 145:20, you know, Yahweh looked at all them that love him, but all the will he destroyed. So he's letting people know, you know, that we have to learn how to stay in prayer. We have to learn to take our actions from the side and to walk the same way we was walking in the flesh, to go through all the things that we have gone through. And all we have to do is stand fast, praying to the Father, believe on the Father, give all to the and see the salvation of the Father. You know, so we know that, you know, it's not that easy, like I said before, because we wasn't grown up in that level of faith. But Yahweh is showing to us now, so we have to practice that level of faith. And maybe one day we will be proven.
Right. And shalom, Brother D, Brother Darius. Good to see you, brother. All right, we stopped at 46, right? All right, so let's move on. Let's go to John chapter 7.
John chapter son. John chapter talking about the son. You might as well John chapter son.
Right.
The son of the Most High.
John chapter 7. You know, we're taught as men to, you know, have no fear, you know, be fearless, suck it up, you know, be tough, this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, look, I mean, the toughest man we know, Yahshua, he had fear. That's a human emotion that is there for a reason. That's how you survive, is through fear. If you didn't fear anything, you just walk out in the middle of the street, get hit by a car. You don't fear nothing. It's just a matter of time. But we got to learn how to deal with this fear. And a lot of times, you know, we lie is out of fear. Because, well, we're afraid what somebody might think about the truth about us. Or we're afraid that somebody's going to disagree with us, or we're afraid of the results, the consequences of something that we did, a decision that we made. But again, you got to have faith that, listen, I made my decision. I got to stand by my decision. And if I did something wrong, then I got to repent, restore, and try to do better the next time. But when you sin, just like in Genesis, it says, you don't do good, then sin lies at the door, and unto him will be your desire, and he'll rule over you. So to start with that fearfulness that causes you not to do something or to lie about something, and then you continue on, and it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yohanan chapter 7, and we're going to read verses 1 through 18.
And after these things, Yahshua walked in Galilee, and he would not walk in Jewry because the Yehudim sought to kill him.
It seemed like every time we start these chapters, it's the same thing. They trying to kill this man.
It's a fulfillment of prophecy, because he's a man stricken with sorrows.
Right.
And
what man that is going to try to walk in this word, in this world, is not going to be stricken with sorrows. You're going to have to learn to deal with that. And this is why it says, be content therewith wherever you at. Go ahead.
Verse 2, now the Yehudim's feast of tabernacles was at hand. His brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence and go into Judea, that your disciples also may see the works that you do. For there is no man that does anything in secret, and he himself seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him.
All right, so, they trying him. Okay, yeah, you bad. Go ahead, jump. Go out there. Them folks trying to kill you. You're doing all these good things. And a lot of them don't believe him. And some of it's just pure jealousy. Because everybody talking about this Yahshua that did this and did that.
Then Yahshua... But he has some more?
No, I was going to say, go ahead. Please.
Then Yahshua said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hates, because I testify of it that the works thereof are evil.
So this is why you will be stricken with grief and sometimes tribulation in your life. Because if you try to take the stance of that, hey, I'm going to do the right thing regardless of how it makes somebody feel or whatever somebody's opinion is, the world is going to hate you for that, because you're shining a light on their deeds. You can't be concerned with that. You got to say, listen, I'm working my own salvation with fear and trembling. And part of that is leading by example. And part of that is trying to help your brothers and sisters. But I can't be concerned with your emotions or how you feel about something that I'm doing. I have to make sure that if I'm going to do a righteous deed, I got to be open to receiving the same thing that the Mashiach received. Because at the end of the day, it's the word. It's the Most High they hate. It's not Yahshua himself per se, but the word, the spirit of Israel that was in him, is what the world hates. So if you try to walk in that same manner and you try to hold yourself to that same standard, expect some hatred to come your way.
This is verse
8.
Verse 8. Go you up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. And when he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. But when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. Then the Yehudim sought him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. For some said, he is a good man. Others said, nay, but he deceives the people. Howbeit no man spoke openly of him for fear of the Yehudim. Now about the midst of the feast, Yahshua went up into the temple and taught. And the Yehudim marveled, saying, how know this man letters, having never learned? Yahshua answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of Elohim or whether I speak of myself. He that speaks of himself seeks his own glory, but he that seeks his glory that sent him, The same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him.
So look at the fearlessness of Yahshua. First of all, he knows the commandment is that he needs to mikra for Feast of Tabernacles. This is an 8-day feast that he's got to attend. It's a Shabbat, a Sabbathon. And they're trying to kill this man. But yet, not only did he show up, because he could have shown up and sat in the back and let somebody know, hey, just let him know I was here. No, he got up and sat up there and taught and said what he needed to say, because at the end of the day, when it's his time, it's going to be his time. And it's the same with us. We're not going to delay that time. We're not going to speed it up. The Most High has a date for us, and that time is going to happen. So you might as well use the time that you have here doing the best you can to do righteousness, which is to follow the commandments of the Most High.
19.
All right, so we can stop right there. We have a short class today. We're just going to finish up the rest of that study we have from Shabbat. So the key thing we want to take away from here is that, listen, you know, we're going to be in situations. We're going to be in fearful situations. We see some of our good examples, like in Kepha, that may have fell and denied the Mashiach 3 times. But at the end of the day, when you have that fall and you allow fear to take over you, you can't beat yourself up. You can't stay in the fall. You got to get up. You got to dust yourself off. You got to learn from your mistake, whatever that mistake is, and you got to move forward. And sometimes people won't allow you to move on from that mistake. That's up to them. That's up to them. You have to be, you the one that's got to face the Most High for your own mistakes and the things you got to do. So you got to wipe yourself off, continue moving, continue in faith, and your faith only builds stronger with your works. And works isn't always, you know, I did this class, or, you know, I set up some equipment or whatever. But works is your deeds, how you treat people, how you talk to people, how you deal with people, how you look out for people, how you help people. Those are your works. And those things will build up your faith to understand that, hey, surely the Most High would want to keep a hedge of protection about me because I'm serving the nation. I'm doing his good deed. I'm bringing glory unto him and producing fruit. So let us not allow fearfulness, and fearfulness doesn't always have to be I'm afraid. It's also anxiety, being anxious, you know, being overly concerned for something and focusing our time and attention on that instead of focusing on the things that we do have control over and power over. And this is what the adversary does to us by constantly putting us in these situations and allowing things to spring up on us to keep our minds off of important things. And when you'll find often when you got something important going on in your life that you need to do, or you have a situation that is going to be a monumental change in your life, expect the adversary to throw out all these different things in front of you to cause you to have some kind of fear of making a change or stepping out on faith or moving into something that could be beneficial to you. We often look at something and say, you know what, if it doesn't work out, oh my goodness, this can happen. The fear of it not working out. But what if it does work out? What if it does work out? Were we considering the blessing, the glory that the Most High might receive in something if something works out? But instead, many times we allow that fear to paralyze us, and we say, you know what, I rather not have something which will give glory unto the Most High, rather than be hurt in not receiving something that I wanted or getting a backlash for something that I wanted. And that's the same thing that the children of Yasharal did in the wilderness. Now we better off in Egypt, getting whipped and being a slave, rather than coming out here where we might not get some food. We might not be protected. We might have to face the nations in the land. So let us not let that fear overcome us, and let us work on our faith, which is going to be built up by our works and our obedience unto the Most High. So that's all we're going to do today. Any last questions or comments before we close in prayer?
Yeah, I wanted to bring out something about Caleb. If we could focus on Caleb real quick. Many would say that Caleb was of what tribe?
Yehuda is what it say.
Yeah. But when you look at his lineage, and there's a lot of scriptures that support this, unless there's like a mismatch in lineages
or names,
names.
There's multiple Calebs.
But Caleb is referred to as a Kenizzite, and his brother being Othniel, and Kenaz is one of the sons of Esau. So it turns out that Caleb.
Where's you reading that?
So
let's read that and see where the source of that
let's
is.
look at
because
Numbers 32:12.
Number 6 here says, of the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb the son of Yephuneh. All right, so that's what Numbers say. So the son of Yephuneh of the tribe of Yehuda is this Caleb here, at least this Caleb here. Now, what's the other one?
So
Numbers.
let's look at Numbers 32:12. It gives more context of who Caleb is, and then it like unfolds more and more later. So you have Numbers 32:12. It says, "Save Caleb the son of Yephuneh the Kenizzite." So it gives insight that, okay, he's a son of Kenaz. So there's several Kenazes. There's one that belongs to Edom's tribe, which is one of the sons of Eliphaz, and there's a Kenaz that belongs to that is a Hebrew, but there's even more scriptures that show that he's not part of that.
Immediately, what I see right here is that it says Caleb the son of Yephuneh the Kenizzite. Now we also see a situation where it talks about in the New Testament, it talks about a disciple and they called him the Canaanite. Now we know he wasn't a Canaanite, we know he was an Israelite, but he may have stayed there. So that could be what's going here.
Yeah, so notice I'm going down the list of like proof scripts.
Right.
So let's go to Joshua 15. And then it talks about Caleb's brother. Which gives a little more context so we could like focus in on what line this guy is from.
Portion of Judah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good verse.
What verse are we on?
This is verse 17.
Okay.
And it says, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb. So we know Othniel is Caleb. It's always better like if you were like to write this down, but this is like a tracing.
All right.
Going
so
back.
Let's just go back a little bit and see make sure that we're talking about the same Caleb. So yeah, it says in verse 13, and unto Caleb, the son of Yephuneh, he gave a part. So that's definitely talking about the same Caleb.
Okay.
All right.
And then verse 17 says Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb. So, and it turns out, like, you know how Jephthah's name is also, what's another name for Moshe's father? The priest of Midian.
Reuel.
Reuel. And then in Jasher, he has another name.
Right.
So Yephuneh is also Kenaz. But there's a script that mentions Yephuneh, who is also Kenaz. So we can keep moving further.
Hold on. What we said?
So Yephuneh, it says Othniel is the son of Kenaz, and Othniel is Caleb's brother, which is the one that is like leading Yehuda. So we know that Kenaz and Yephuneh is the same person.
Well, could they have different fathers? I mean, I'm just
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I like try to see what can disprove.
What's the
Think about verse 13.
Verse 13, Joshua 15.
Verse 12.
Joshua says,
15,
unto
12.
Caleb the son of Yephuneh he gave a part among the children of Yehuda, according to the commandment of Yahweh to Yahshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which is the city of Hebron. So that might be the answer right there.
So like he's given a part. Like why would you be given a part if you're already
he's
Yehuda?
given? So because he went up and gave the good report, it looks like they're giving him a part in Yehuda.
So, but it gets better because right now you're like, oh snap, this is crazy, you know, like.
But then again, they got to give him a part because it's according to the commandment of Yahweh.
Yeah.
So he was going to give him a part of Yehuda if he's up from Yehuda.
Yeah, but Joshua is an Ephraimite, so it doesn't say to the sons of Joshua. Ephraim was given a portion, like it says it gives Ephraim as a whole, but this guy is being portioned off like he did something. You feel me? Like what I see here is another Dawid, and who did he kill? Who Dawid sent to the front lines again?
Uriah the Hittite.
So it's like a Uriah thing, like you know, like we like this dude. He's a foreigner, but you know, So that's not. So let's.
He's one of the 7 tribes that are supposed to be destroyed. The 7 people are supposed to be destroyed.
The Hittite,
Indeed.
right?
But he had a serious part to play underneath Darwin.
And then we know the curse that's been pronounced against Esau too. Like, yo, I don't like this child. But then it's like, but this dude. So just bookmark. I didn't say like this is it, but just bookmark
to look
these
at these scriptures.
All right, so
right.
I'm gonna go down some more. So what was the last one I gave y'all? It was Joshua 15.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So then, so we established that Othniel and Caleb are brothers who are sons of Kenaz. So I guess I could go straight into it now, where First Chronicles chapter 4 goes over Judah's lineage again, and it starts out with Judah and his offspring, and then all of a sudden, these Kenazites get injected.
Were the Kenizzites?
Oh, you know what?
Were they the people?
Even before that, let me give you better context.
But the Kenizzites, were those the people that they
lied?
were the wood?
Wood drawers.
They were to draw wood, and you would forever be tributaries.
Stewards of wood and tributaries.
Yeah.
It could be, but here's this is H7073, right? So let's go to Genesis 36:11 real quick. And this like gives some context as to who this guy is really coming from, if this is true. So this is Genesis 36.
So these are
Esau's
sons.
generation, his lineage, right? So all right, let's start at 7, right? And let's read the whole thing. Why not? So these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. And it's funny, this Anah chick shows up with Caleb as well. But let me continue. And Beshmath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nebaioth. So we know Esau and Ishmael mixed up.
right.
And Ada bare Esau Eliphaz. And you know Eliphaz is one of like the dukes of Edom. That's like Esau's main son. He does a lot. I think Eliphaz's son, his name starts with a Z. I think his name is Zoaph or something. He's the one that goes and links up with Kittim. And I can't remember his name, but it starts with a Z. So Eliphaz and Beshemath bear Reuel. And could that be the same Reuel that's Moshe's father? Who knows? But
Could be. We'd have to look at the generations.
and if you look at Midian, the scripts
is very close to
yeah,
Edom,
and
right.
the scripts say that Moshe's father is a Kenizzite as well. In here. So I'll get into that. We could go into that again later on. Since we got time, we could throw this around real quick.
Right.
So Beshemath bare Reuel, and Aholibamah bare Yeush, and Jalam and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his house and his cattle and his beasts and all his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. So they got mad stuff. They was just rich. It was just, Yahweh blessed them and gave them the inheritance, the fat of the earth. And thus Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, and we know Seir belonged to the Horites originally, and they just absorbed that whole group of people. So, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau; Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho's the one that links up with Kittim.
Right.
Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. Kenaz is one of the dukes of Edom.
Yeah, yes.
So then, I'm trying to see if it goes into Kenaz's sons, but it doesn't really go into Kenaz's.
I think it does. Duke Kenaz on verse 15.
Okay.
So it should go.
And were the dukes of and the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of the Duke Teman, the Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz. In other places, it goes into Kenaz's offspring, but it doesn't explain it all right here. So, Then we have, if we could go to Joshua 15 again real quick, because I got to clear up something there. With the how they disposed of the land concerning Caleb. This is Joshua 15, which I believe is right after Deuteronomy, correct? So Joshua 15. And this then was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin.
Hold on, which verse?
This is reading from chapter 1. I'm starting at verse 1.
Verse 1. Yeah. Okay.
And this was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin. Southward was the uttermost part of the south coast. And their south border was from the shore of the salt sea, from the bay that looks southward. And it went out. This is Joshua chapter 15. We're at verse 3 right now. And it went out to the south side to Akrabim, and passed along Zin, and ascended up on the south side to Kadesh Barnea, and passed along to Hezron, and went up to Adar, and fetched the compass to Karkah. From there it passed toward Asmon, and went out unto the river of Mitzrayim, and the goings out of that coast were at the sea. This shall be your coast. And the east border was the salt sea, and even unto the end of Jordan, and their border in the north quarter was from the bay of the sea at the uttermost part of Jordan. And the border went up to Beth Holga, and passed along the north of Beth Araba, and the border went up to the stone of Boan, the son of Reuben. And the border went up toward the bear from the valley of Achor, and so looking toward Gilgal, that is before the going up to Adumim, which is on the south side of the river. And the border passed toward the waters of Eshemesh, and the goings out were of Engral. Trying to see when they go into, okay, it's coming up. And more of landmarks. And let's go to
13 is where
let me start at 12. And the west border was to the great sea, and the coast thereof. This is the coast of the children of Yehudah, round about according to their families. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Yehudah, according to the commandment of Yahweh, to Yeshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. And Caleb drove there the three sons of Anak, Shishai and Amin and Talmai, the children of Anak. So then you jump down to 17. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him to Akash, his daughter, to wife. I'll probably look up later who Akash is. Aksa. I'm dyslexic today. All right, so I think we've gone over enough scriptures to solidify that there's Kenaz, and then there's Othniel and Caleb. Now, the other scripture is in 1 Chronicles chapter 4.
Okay.
You also have some limits in chapter, 1 Chronicles chapter 1.
Well, yeah, and Judges chapter 1 talks about it, but it pretty much, Judges chapter 1 is just a reiteration of what Joshua is saying.
Right.
1:13. All right, so Othniel, the son of Caleb's younger brother, took it.
What are we on?
This is
Verse 14? 4:14?
Yeah, so let's go to first.
Are we in Chronicles?
Yeah,
or
go
Judges?
to Chronicles. Chronicles chapter 4.
Okay.
Because right here, Judges says it, but I didn't read the whole thing yet. So right now, I'm thinking it's a reiteration, but it goes into a little bit more.
All right, we can go back to it.
All right. So 1 Chronicles chapter 4, and it talks about Judah again, correct? All right.
The sons of Judah.
Three, two, one, here. All right, 1 Chronicles chapter 4. Now, this one happens at 13. So let's start at 1. And the sons of Yehudah, Pharez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur. This is actually like a breakdown, because Pharez was his son from Tamar. And Pharez's son was Hezron. So it's like doing a lineage type thing. And Rhea, the son of Shobal, begat Jahath. Jahath begat Ahumai and Lahad. These are the families of the Zorathites. These were of the father of Etam, Yeshriel, and Ishma, and Idbash. The name of their sister was Hazelelponi. And Penuel, the father of Gedor, and Ezer, the father of Hushah. These are the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephratah, the father of Bethlehem. And Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Nara. And Nara bare him Ahuzam, and Hefer, and Temeni, and Hashashtari. These were the sons of Nara. And the sons of Helah were Zareth, Yezoar, and Ethnan. And Kaz begat Anub, and Zebibah, and the families of Arel, the son of Haram. And I gotta figure out what's Jabez's lineage. And Jabez was more honorable than his brethren, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bear him with sorrow. And Jabez called on the Elohim of Yasharal, saying, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my coast, that your hand might be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me. And Elohim granted him that which he requested. And Chelub, the brother of Shua, begat Mehir, which was the father of Eshton. And Eshton begat Beth-Rapha, and Paseah, and Tinah, the father of Irnashash. And these are the men of Rakaz. And then here's 13. And the sons of Kenaz, Othniel and Siriah, and the sons of Othniel, Hathath. And Meonathai begat Ophrah, and Siriah begat Joab, the father of the valley of Sharashim, for they were craftsmen. And the sons of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, Eru, Elah, and Nahum, the sons of Elah, even Kenaz. So right here, it mentions Jephunneh actually being Kenaz. So there probably can be more scriptures to round it in, but this Kenaz dude is one of the sons of Esau. So,
I mean, they were right there. I mean, at the border.
And pretty much because of his, upstanding, act, going in, he in the foreign people. If this is the case, he's in foreign people's land, and he's like, no, we could get this land. I'm with. I like what Yeshua is saying. Like, I'm with it.
But why would they have picked him out of the 12?
Out of all the tribes.
So I mean, they must have been on some righteous, honorable stuff if they got picked, especially for Yehuda. And then if he was of the seed of Esau, I seriously doubt he was a white guy over there. So running amongst them.
Look. I know, man. It's like crazy. So I'm gonna look at these. So now let's look at where Reuel was, because there's scripts that say that Reuel is a Kenizzite as well.
You want to go back to Judges? Would you want to see something there?
I actually have it saved in my search.
Where are we going now?
If we look up, Raguel. I'm gonna look up, because another name for Moshe's dad was Hobab.
Hobab?
Yes. So if we go to Numbers chapter 10, Numbers 10:29.
That's interesting.
I know, man. I know, because his name shows up as Raguel in Numbers 10:29.
I remember we talked about that before, wondering, like, are they the same man?
And then Jasher.
Numbers 10?
Yeah, Numbers chapter 10. And let's go a little bit before 29 so we can get more context.
Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite.
Moshe said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite, Moshe's father-in-law.
Okay, so Hobab wouldn't have been his name, because he's the son of Raguel, and Raguel was supposed to be so you're saying Hobab is Ruel and Raguel is somebody else, or
the names is wild. So I'm gonna pull up the other.
Well, let's look at the Strongs on it. That's
so look up Reuel. So I'm gonna pull up Reuel real quick. because his name is
Hobab it says Hobab is the father-in-law of Moshe.
Okay.
In the Strong's.
Hobab, the son of Raguel. So remember, we read Reuel, right? So let me
look. Raguel is Ruel.
Wow. Yeah.
So the name of most. So it's both of them. It's saying it's the same person.
So look at this now. Raguel. That's the only time it's spelt like that. Mm-hmm. There's also Reuel, which is Reuel,
and that's what they put that for the Strong's is 87467. So they're saying it is Reuel. It's the same way. So they're saying Hobab and Raguel and Reuel are all the same person. Now, when it's saying the son of Raguel, this is Midianites. Maybe they might have named their son after the father. So maybe they both have the same name.
So I'm trying to find the part where it says that Moshe's father-in-law was a Kenizzite as well. So yes, so if you put in Kenizzite,
all right,
Kenezite.
Okay. Oh, that's killing that Esau doctrine hard, bro.
Kenna. So it's spelled a bunch of different ways. So let me it's not K-E, it's Kena. Nope, that one doesn't show up. But there's a...
Could it be Kenite?
Yes, Kenite. Kenite.
Yeah, and the children of the Kenite, that's Judges 1:16, and the children of the Kenite, Moshe's father-in-law. So it's saying his father-in-law was and Kenite is a derivative of Cani, the tribe of Cain. So it's like that when you follow that route, I follow that too. They go back to Cain.
But look at this though. You remember we just read
and Canaanite. All those are from the same derivatives.
Now the thing is, we just read that one of Kenaz's sons was Reuel. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if this guy was a Duke of Edom, but one of the, you feel me? So it's
definitely interesting to see where that rabbit hole goes.
It's very Edomish.
There's some Edomite stuff going on in here.
So now when I cross-reference that to Jasher, it was like, whoa, it got, Jasher's lineages be like serious. Mm-hmm. His name is Reuel in there as well. And it says who's also, can't remember so many other names. I think I don't know if he goes as Hobab, in Jasher, but it like cleans some stuff up.
Mm-hmm. So that would explain how he just took Moshe and threw him in jail. Mm-hmm.
So now Judges 4 mentions it.
Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moshe, had severed himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent unto the plain of Zanaim, which is by Kadesh.
Which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moshe, mm-hmm. who is the son of Reuel. Hobab is Reuel's son.
But when you look at the Strong's, and you talking about Judges 1, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the Strong's, for both names, it's given right here. It said Hobab, and Numbers 10, and Hobab it has father-in-law of Moshe, mm-hmm. and then when you go to Raguel, it says Ruel, father-in-law.
The name of
Moshe's father-in-law. So it's saying it's the same people.
Also according
to the Strong's.
And the Strong's been given weird, because sometimes you see a word that means bad, and then it's like bad, worse, crazy, good. It's like it'll be given opposite, opposing definitions. So you had to like use the context,
right,
and choose. So basically, it's saying Raguel is Hobab's dad.
Raguel is Ruel.
Yeah, here. Reuel. And now if you put Reuel, it shows up.
It said Esau and Israelite.
Right, but we know it wasn't Israelite because it was a Midianite. Yeah, so it can't be talking about that one. Can't be talking about the Israelite one.
But here's where it gets crazy though, because we know that Midian is Abraham's kids. One of the sons of Abraham from Keturah is Midian. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what's happening here?
It's very Hebrews, yeah.
It's very But and then at the end of the day, Esau is a Hebrew anyway.
They're all Hebrews, but yeah, that's interesting though. That's very interesting. There's got to be more to this story.
I don't know if it's somebody's stepmom or what, but if like so, one of these women had 2 husbands at one
But
point.
if they saying the son of, then that means it's not a
From the
stepmom.
male
It's
seed.
from male seed, right?
Yeah, man, it was OD.
Oh well.
These are the sons of Reuel. So it says who Reuel's sons are. So it doesn't show up as we don't see Hobab in that.
As a son of Reuel,
Yeah.
right? I think they're the same people, and it could be just translation.
Yeah.
Because they did say that there was some.
So this is where
translation issues.
I have to look at because the Septuagint is older than the Masoretic text. The Septuagint was before, so I could look at Septuagint translations and see what's up there and what it's saying, whose name got translated as what. Then you have like mad cross references we could probably get into.
There's probably
Arabic.
Jasher probably has more to this.
Yeah,
But
I mean
then
like
again,
certain
I
translations.
read about in Jasher when it was talking about Moshe, so I don't know, but that's definitely something interesting to see.
Yeah.
That would kill a lot of that whole.
Bang on Esau type because you got Caleb who is a suspected Edomite who is given a portion just out of favor because he actually followed the commandment of Yah, and this is
faith, right?
And this happens where Yah will put the children of Israel to shame through Gentiles because y'all don't want to listen. For this little section of time, I'm gonna put a Gentile over you for your foolishness, for your ignorance, and make a Gentile shame you.
Yeah, think about like
He put his righteousness,
his
say.
grandfather screwed everything up, right? Esau, right? So guess what? At least one of them came out the lineage that did right before Yahweh.
And found his way back into the
Yah,
right side.
like you said, Yah
Found his way
would
back.
use him as an example. Look, y'all don't want to act right. I put my
Female.
spirit in Esau and have him
Oh my
be more
God.
righteous than you.
Oh wow.
You know, it could be very
He said
well.
he did
He
right.
said all of y'all Israelites was scared, but this Edomite right here
That you hate so
came
much.
over here with this, you know, with Ephraim.
And the right
You know,
spirit.
the brother that y'all rejecting too because they got Egypt in their blood. I'm gonna use these two mixed brothers and and show they got more heart than you.
So we've seen that
That's crazy.
Yah has shamed the men of Israel with women. Where like if you ain't acting right, I'm gonna put some women over you to poke you in the right direction and shame
Judge.
you and judge. And if you don't act right, I'll put Gentiles. But we know that already because he's like I'm gonna sell you to the whole world. But this is like a sneak peek from right there in the Exodus story that you have a whole Edomite over a tribe as a leader. He just chose Yehuda, and we know Yehuda got some funny stuff going on because
And then the tribe he chose too is Yehuda of
the,
all
the
tribes.
deep one where the Mashiach's supposed to arise from.
Okay. Caleb.
And Caleb means
not
dog.
is not in the bloodline of Yahshua though, right?
Nah.
We gotta check that. I don't-
We can go back. We ain't
All right.
So and then Caleb means dog, and then you have Yahshua talking about I can't give the children's meat unto dogs.
cast it to the. But even the dogs eat the scraps that
So-
fall from the master's table.
And then you know how the scriptures be like using people's names as like hints to stuff. So it's like
Right.
we're naming him Caleb because he's a Gentile anyway.
Caleb means dog.
And Caleb means dog.
Right. But you can train.
And he's
the
the
dog.
only one, and he's
Yeah.
the only one named Caleb throughout the whole scriptures. That name doesn't get recycled to nobody.
Bro, and then people just be picking names, bro. You know, name your child dog, man.
And these Masoretes were petty like that because they're the ones that tried not to really put Yah's name in the scripts because they were like very ultra orthodox. We can't say Yahweh. We're gonna say, Jehovah or some convoluted way of doing it. They even mention how a lot of the times it says Yahweh, they actually put Adonai instead of Yah's name,
Right.
in the Masoretic. It's wild, bro. So I think they did some bad mind stuff to Caleb because that's probably not even his real name.
They changed his name to dog or
Yeah,
something.
because they felt ashamed. Like this Edomite, really? Nah, Caleb. the lying pen of the scribes, man. You never know,
Who
man.
this dude think he is walking up in the land and he ain't scared like the rest of us? He was an overachiever, I guess.
Man. And yeah, but I think a lot of times people get ultra nationalistic and forget that Yah's intent is to bring fullness to the whole world. It's not just Israel alone is not only going to be saved, but he's using them to be a precursor to what salvation looked like. And if he puts that such a heavy mantle on you and sets you apart in holiness and you act foolish with it, you're going to know that your punishment going to be worse than the rest of the nation. So wanting to be number one is not the greatest because it's going to come with responsibility. It's not like in the world where number one comes with no consequence. Oh, he's the star of the show and he does all the stupid, wicked stuff with his family or done married 9 wives and we still esteem him as the number one. You feel me? Like this dude doesn't. The women is a trail of scorned women. He's not a celebrity. He's a bad person at the end of the day. This dude that we esteem that want to be number one. When y'all put somebody as number one, they suffer to get there. They're the servant. You know, Yahshua.
There's less room for error when you out in front.
And Yahshua, even what we mentioned, what we went through today, was that Luke? Yahshua was like, man, y'all want to be number one so bad.
You want to be the greatest.
You want to be the greatest.
Right.
Kiefer, you sitting here talking like you're going to be the ultimate disciple. Before the cock crows 3 times, you're denying. Before the cock crows, you're going to be deny me thrice.
Well, he was already like, oh, wash my feet, wash my head too. You know.
So they don't understand that in the world, it's like if you boast yourself, people like you. Like, you know, you go to interviews, you have to boast of yourself. You go to job interviews, you gotta like make boost your resume, let the people know I'm the number one commander, or I did this, I did. You have to boast of your works. Whereas the word is like, it's not even like that. You gotta show. Right. You gotta put forth effort with your deeds.
Supposed to boast for you,
brother. They have Caleb here, and it says in 36:12, perhaps a form of Caleb, which is from 36:11, or else from the same root in the same forcible, Caleb, the name of 3 Israelites. Then if you go back to 11, it says, from an unused root meaning to yelp, or else to attack, a dog. Hence, euphemism, a male prostitute dog. And then you go down further, talking about.
Yo, the Mazarites is petty, bro. They did that on purpose. I really feel like they did it on purpose.
So, you know, they talk about, you know, place in Egypt, Ephrathite, Caleb, Ephathan, a place in Egypt, if the text is correct, Caleb, Ephrathite. You know, so I'm like, wow, they're talking about it, this dog, but then they're talking about you got three Israelites that's named back there. So, I don't know, they're kind of confusing the issue here, but still.
And when you look up dog, every instance of dog, it's Caleb. It's Caleb.
That was a loyal dog.
There's one different one, but you got to go to Greek. Yeah, all through Hebrew, everything is dog's neck. Isaiah 36:11. Caleb for everyone.
Yo, they was mad, bro. They didn't want to esteem no Edomite at all when they wrote it. Oh my gosh.
Hey, he did the deed. You know, Yahweh will have mercy on he will have mercy.
Interesting. Anybody else? Anything interesting? All right, let's go ahead and close in prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem. Brother Yanti, can you go ahead and close us out in prayer?
Heavenly Father, Yahweh, we thank you, Yahweh, for the great cloud of witness that you set before us, Yahweh, and calling us in this dispensation of time to represent you, Yahweh. Let us take heart, Yahweh. Let us be courageous and not faint in times of adversity, Yahweh. But know that these things we go through, we're appointed to them. It's not by happenstance, it's not by chance. This is what you've written in your books for us to do, to overcome, and for us to get works on our scroll that is written in the tablets, Yahweh, that is written in the books of life that will be opened in the end of days when you judge us, O Yahweh. Let us look to you as our partner, Yahweh. Look to you, look to your Son as our advocate, Yahweh, helping us to get through these testing and trying times that seek to bend and break us, even having more pressure of the accuser upon us, Yahweh, seeking to oppress us and even sift us as wheat at any given moment, Yahweh. Yahweh, we thank you for the strength that you've placed upon us. And as Yahshua prayed for Kepha, we pray that our faith would help us overcome, that we may be strengthened once we're restored and strengthen others when our souls are restored, Yahweh. And when we emerge from our trials and from the fiery pit, Yahweh, as a brand taking plucked from the fire, Yahweh, when we emerge from these testings, we pray, Yahweh, that we be kept from these hard testings, Yahweh, that you continue to fortify us. And if hard testing be your will, Yahweh, may they not swallow us up, Yahweh. May you always look over us and watch over us, for only your will shall be done. And if testing, Yahweh, makes us better and is to your glory, then so be it, Yahweh. If the cup can pass from us, let it pass, Yahweh. But if it be the destiny and if it be your will, so be it, Yahweh. And that's why we pray, amen, Yahweh. Even saying, so be it. And in Yahshua we pray, amen. Amen.
So,
yeah, man, I heard somebody make sure.